Hey, fun fact! This is the worst model I've ever built. Jesus Christ. Hello everyone, welcome back to the Mr. Flipwagon YouTube channel. I'm Mr. Flipwagon, but you can call me Mel, and this is a video on something completely different. I normally don't make model videos, but this is an exception. Um, so I got this model as a Christmas gift, and don't worry, I asked for this model in particular, so I practically doomed myself to build this thing, and this wasn't the gift someone else gave me out of the goodness of their hearts, cause if it was, then I would probably not be here complaining about it. Yeah, this model is yikes. And on my modeling Instagram I posted that I would probably make a video talking about this model just due to how much pain the building and painting process gave me. I will also do a full review on this thing since they are quite scarce on the internet, and well, of course I can't show the sprues and mold quality since I've already built the thing, but I will try to find images to compensate and give you, the viewer, a better understanding of the process and just the model in general. So some background on the model. This is the 1/72nd special hobby Supermarine Sea Otter in 1/72nd scale and also in foreign service colors or paint schemes. It was originally molded in 2011 as a part of Azur's model kit range, but I guess the molds were sold to Special Hobby, and from what I know, Azur stopped their model production in 2017, and it's not that big of a stretch to think that the molds may have just been sold to Special Hobby. And funnily enough, this kit actually went into production in 2021, or well, Special Hobby's variant went into production 2021, so theoretically everything should be up to date. The instructions, the mold quality and the sticker quality. So let's take a look at the contents, first beginning with the instructions. So starting off we have some history about the aircraft, which is always welcome, but I don't know what you guys think, but the grammar and writing style in my opinion feels a bit translated and unnatural. But to be fair, Special Hobby is a Czech company, so I'll give it a pass. Here are some sprue maps, which is always nice and welcome. It makes it easier to find parts, and we got a symbol description, so that's quite nice. The instructions are printed pretty decently, with some color used to make following and painting easier. While the printing is good, there are some unclear steps, like step 6 where you get to choose different tail details, but due to the cluttered nature of the print and the fact that there are no borders separating steps or options for steps, it becomes a tad confusing, and I must confess that in this step I was like, what the hell is going on here? The best thing about the instructions though is the detailed and clear colored painting instructions, which is a very nice addition and fun to see, especially since I build mostly Revell kits, which are always paired with black and white painting instructions, so seeing just a colored painting instruction is nice to see once in a while. Now for the decals. As you can see, I've cut out a few because I've already built the model, but as you also can see in this lighting, they look quite thick and quite plasticky, almost more like stickers than decals. And these were at first a bit tricky to put on the model and to make them conform, but they turned out alright in the end, and we can check it later when I'm actually going to show the model up close. And now let's take a look at the sprues, and since mine are, well, not in pristine condition, I will show you the ones that Mr. Julian put up on britmodeler.com. At first they look quite good until you realize that the parts aren't marked. Yeah, you heard that right. They aren't marked anywhere on the sprue. Actually, there are no numbers on the sprue at all. So imagine looking at your instructions and you need to like find a part you can't detect on the sprue, so you have to instantly turn back a few pages and go find those parts on the sprue map, and then on the actual sprue itself, and then you have to turn the pages back to get to the actual step. And yeah, it's not a first world problem, but after a while the process really becomes tedious. Also, look at how thick the connecting lines to the sprues are. Like, they are massive. Like, there's a lot of sanding you have to do just to get the parts relatively clean and to make the connecting parts unnoticeable on the model. And on some of the smaller parts it's difficult to cut them off without breaking the pieces themselves. On some parts as well, there were some bumps that would be visible to the outside, so you were forced to sand them down, and some bumps were on pieces that needed to lay flush flat with other pieces, so yay, unnecessary sanding. And let me mention too that the plastic, unironically, this is not a joke, smelled like burnt fecal matter, and the normal polycement didn't really work with this plastic, because polycement usually what it does, it melts the plastic parts which binds them together, and for some reason this plastic didn't want to melt, so heck, even super glue was a better alternative than the normal polycement. And don't get me started on the resin parts. These were a nightmare, cause on these are all the fragile parts. They are literally stuck to their supports. Like, look at the engine, it's snug on that support, and when I cut it off, literally all the cylinders snapped off before I could get the engine off itself. And look at the steering wheel. Good luck getting the support plastic out from in between the handles. Like, this was a horrible experience. Although, to be quite fair, and let's take a break from the horribleness, we got some photo etch parts, and they were a really nice addition. They were well molded and well detailed, and you could cut them off easily from the sprue using an X-Acto knife, and we got some seat belts which made the cockpit just look a lot better than it would have been without them, so that actually was quite a nice small detail. And also the radar things on the plane that you may be able to see that are bent on my plane due to a few reasons. They were also photo etched, so that's quite nice. I really like that. But in general, the parts were mediocre at best. So this is the final model, and it turned out, well, good, but was the pain worth it? Never. Never in a million years. I had to go through so many issues while making this thing. Issues like fitting parts, sanding them, painting and trying to avoid dust, waiting for enamel paint to dry, which takes like one day per layer, which is kind of why I decided to midway switch to acrylic paints and then continue with them. And then fitting the second wing set with the supports, just I despise this model, I really do. There was an abundance of problems with very little pros to compensate, and then this happened. Well, believe it or not, but Mel's brainwaves actually were recorded while capturing this footage. This is what we heard. I'm starting to fear that this model is cursed, so as soon as I got all the footage I wanted to get off this thing, I put it back in my vitrine as quickly as possible to hopefully never ever have to touch this thing again. While this model was a nightmare to build, I must say that I have learned a lot of lessons. I got to try out new paints, new decal fixes, and problem solving like never before. But this was definitely a rude awakening model for me. Like, if this was the first model I ever built, I would probably not have built the model ever, like, afterwards. I would have quit instantly. I would have been, no, I don't want to do this. This is not fun. This is torture, and I'm sadly not a masochist. I got it for 18 euros, which is lower than most of the ones I have found online. But even that I feel isn't worth it, and it should be going for like, what, 10 euros? 15 euros maximum. I would never recommend this model to anyone. Ever. Maybe with the exception that if you are a really experienced modeler with really just niche tools and just a lot of time and patience and space to actually deal with just the bullshittery of this thing, then sure. And if you want and of course if you wanna build a plane with in foreign service decals and camouflage, then sure, go ahead. But I'm warning you, this thing is maybe this thing was not such a good idea to build, you know? Maybe it's like casual modelers, stay clear of this one. I wanted to make this a review because it's like this was a painful experience, and well, even making the review is a painful experience. Like with my model just suddenly breaking, I was like, I don't want to do this. I want to go home. It's like, uh, I don't know. Just don't get this thing, please. And I'll try to mentally recover from this. Hopefully, I'll get to do something more fun soon. But this is the furthest from fun you could get in the modeling universe, I think. I don't know if I want to even do my outro, honestly. I just like just what was my outro even? Just keep flipping, stay awesome, keep flipping, and I don't know, just have a nice day or something.